Right, run away. Desperation. Look at that, I just don't want to turn into a guy like that. That's basically it.
I'm just making a fish, just carving a fish with an axe. Just roughly carving it out, and I'll smooth it down with a smoke shave in a plane.
And what's your link with the Galgael?
It's a boat builder.
How long have you done that?
About 3 years.
And where are you based?
Glasgow.
Is there a lot of trade going on in the boat building?
Oh, there is in the west. Well, maybe not in the boat building, but boat restoration, boat repair. There's the West Coast has a lot more due to the Western Isles, the Hebrides. A lot more sailing area than the East Coast, which I suppose is the East Coast is purely traditional industrial fishing.
And how did you get into it?
I just decided that one day I wanted to be a boat builder. I went and found someone to teach me. And then after that I went to college for a while. Then I went and found someone else to teach me. And now I do it myself.
Do you teach other people?
Yeah, I do. I pass on the skills. It's the best way to consolidate your skills is to teach others as well as you learn them. So that's quite enjoyable. It's more a way of life than a job, I suppose. I quite like it.
What would you tell anybody wanting to get into it?
Don't bother, I want the money.
Bragg saw an article which appeared in the Scotsman magazine to do with the Galgael project and the work it was doing in Glasgow with groups of disadvantaged young people. Bragg itself is obviously based in Cross Hill and is looking to work with disadvantaged communities. It just seemed the approach that the Galgaels were taking was the right one for this sort of area. So we had a discussion with them about whether it would be possible to run something very similar to the project in this area, and invited them to come along to have a look and see whether it was a way forward for us.
I think that the blustering about of a sail and inexperienced crew crammed within 1 hour, we might actually get more enjoyment rowing about and having a bit of fun that way. Because I think actually teaching people to sail, you should actually take the time to do it right. Do you know what I mean? Aye, that was a bit of Corsican, it was got a drill here, so. No, that's good actually. Bring the whole thing out, eh? Because this is quite a big. Oh, you want a beer one? Get a beer one.
Bragg approached the Rural Development Challenge Fund to get some money which we could use to deliver a feasibility study. And the feasibility study itself was to look at whether the Galgael project, which exists in Glasgow, could be successfully operated in the Cross Hill and Lochawe areas. So the plan was that we would actually bring the Galgael's project over for 1 weekend, get people from the locality to come down to Lochawe Meadows where they would be displaying all the traditional skills that they did, and see if we could engage, see if people in the area would be interested in seeing something very similar to the Galgael's project operating here.
And the next stage will be to get a group from around here in different parts of the West Fife villages and go through to Govan and to have a look at how things run through there.
The Dyser boys, Bill and Peter and all that, these guys are a vital link to your sailing heritage. It's been passed on through the generations for your mining communities. They've inspired us, kept us going. And we'll learn about things like this, which is a rack in Norse, a parrel, a traveller, all these different names for the one thing. Basically, with that master, primitive things like this shows that the coastal people of Britain, Scotland particularly, we're very resourceful. And what Galgael seeks to do in our adventures along the coast of Scotland and in inner cities is to get people to think and be resourceful. And you know, we've got a lot to be sort of thankful in terms of the heritage. So, without any more chatting, all we need is 6 oars, life jackets, and we'll maybe get that boat in the water, get it round to the jetty. Before we get any newcomers on the boat, we'll bring it round to the jetty, and then we'll get folk with the gear on. We'll try and get a wee bit of rowing about. Is that okay? Good. Thanks very much. Right, we'll just get a life jackets. Thank you. Back.
As with a lot of traditional skills project, it's quite sort of material intensive. So there'll be a lot of traditional materials which will be needed. Things like sort of wood and steel, and a lot of things which went with traditional crafts. So the idea was that some of the skills which would have over the years been lost, we would try and reintroduce into the area. And one of those that we were quite keen to look at was boat building. And we looked specifically at something called Dysart Yawl, which is a boat that obviously originates from Dysart. And we would look at trying to build those in the traditional way. So a lot of the material which would be involved in that's clearly wood. There would be obviously some metal work involved in that, ropes. Many of the traditional materials which have since sort of been lost. There are 3 organisations, there's Tibble, there's Bragg and the Galgaels. The idea is that those 3 organisations would initially start off together, leading the project jointly, and then as time went on the Galgael project would pull out. So they quite graciously were giving us their expertise in delivering the project. But they saw probably after about 6 months to a year they would actually draw back from the project, and Tibble and Bragg would be left to run it and operate it on behalf of the people here.
I remember the old man who stood at the cross, directing the traffic like he was the boss. And I remember the coalman with only one hand, a pony and trap he had at his command. These are the things I remember so well, from photographs and memories which take me away to a land that is distant, and there they must stay, must stay. I remember the happy land, row upon row of old terraced houses where I used to go. I remember the people so helpful and kind. Where have they gone with the passing of time? These are the things I remember so well,